Hey, everybody. Alan Weber from the mayor's office on a beautiful Friday afternoon in Santa Fe. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching. With us, Dr. Wendy Johnson, Chief Medical Officer from La Familia, with our regular Friday update on COVID. I've got other things to talk about, but COVID. We are in the green, but we are not out of the woods. It is entirely possible to go backward, as Taos County discovered. Our last 3 days are not good numbers, folks. We've gone 12, 17, and 15 in the last 3 days in terms of our new cases. So if we are not mindful of the risk, if we are not continuing to mask up when we go out, if we're not continuing to practice good, smart, COVID safe practices, 2 weeks from now, we'll be back in yellow and we'll lose all the ground we've gained. We want to go to turquoise, and then from turquoise, we want to open up. So please don't lose focus. Don't lose the discipline. Remember that vaccination is important, but it is not the end of the COVID crisis. We're also seeing, and Dr. Johnson can speak to this better than I, we're seeing a significant number of cases in America are now the UK variant. And something like 30 to 40% of all new cases are the UK variant. It spreads more rapidly, more quickly, and it's not necessarily worse than the original COVID, but it has a lot more ability to spread and affect more people. The more people who get affected, then the more hospitals have to deal with that surge. So we're not out of the woods. We're all enjoying the chance to have a little more opportunity to go out and enjoy Santa Fe, restaurants, bowling alleys. We're seeing Meow Wolf getting the go-ahead to open. We're seeing our ice skating rink open on Saturday. All great news. We want to have those fun things back in our lives, but the danger is that we lose focus on keeping COVID under control. So let's go turquoise, not go backward into yellow. So with that, Dr. Johnson, some new developments. We're in the green. We're seeing the age level for vaccination go, I guess now formally from 75 down to folks who are 60. The school district is, no? Well, let me finish
well,
let me
let me just correct you. That's not actually true. There's no change in the requirements from the Department of Health, so we can talk about that. Go ahead.
You'll fix it after I blunder through this. So it looks like there's some new things happening that may change age limitations, but maybe I'm wrong. We do know teachers are getting vaccinated. We know veterans are seeing more opportunity to get vaccinated. It sounded to my non-medical ears like, but that's why you're on this program, that the 75 and plus was now 60 and up, but maybe I'm off the mark. So tell us where we are, what going green gets us, and what we would lose if we backslide to yellow, and then about upcoming events like a registration for seniors that the city and the county and Fiesta Council are working to get, if you've had a hard time using the technology to register, there's an in-person registration at the fairgrounds. So enough of me. Take it over, Dr. Johnson.
Well, let me just address the age thing first before we get a bunch of 60-year-olds that are healthy going and rushing the vaccine sites. Nothing has changed about the criteria that the Department of Health has. So it's 75 and older, no matter what health conditions you have. And then under 75 for those that have the chronic conditions, okay? So you still only, we're still only vaccinated the people that are under 75 that have one of those chronic conditions, heart disease, kidney disease, lung disease, those kinds of things, cancer. What the governor said, what's been very clear throughout this is the governor is very committed to vaccinating those very most highly at risk people first. And age is probably the most significant risk factor for getting severe COVID and for dying. So she's really focused on the older population, okay? So the 60 and older, you still need to have one of those chronic diseases. The only thing that she said different is she really wants to prioritize that group right now. And we see, you know, from President Biden's announcement yesterday that what he wants to do is really open it up to everybody by you know, May 1st. And really with the goal of anyone who wants a vaccine should be able to get one by the end of May. So that will be great. What we're expecting to see is a really big influx of vaccines in April. All right. So I don't know how our state regulations and requirements will change in the face of President Biden's announcement yesterday. What I think this 60 and older announcement is about is because there's a lot of frustration because there's still, even though we are one of the top 2 states in the country, both for the number of people, the percent of our population vaccinated, and how efficient our system is at getting the vaccines in the arms, you know, we're always above 90, 95% on the vaccines in the arms, and we're about 28% of our population vaccinated. So that puts us, you know, if you, depending on when you look, we're always 1 or 2. There's still some people over 75 or older people with chronic illnesses that haven't gotten vaccinated. And so what I think the governor's trying to do before we open it up to the whole world is really make a last final push to make sure that all those people who want vaccine who are older are able to get it, or are over 60 and have chronic disease, or over 75 and, you know, no matter what other conditions you have. Because soon we're probably going to have to open it up wider. And although I know a lot of people have been going to Amarillo and to Alamosa and Colorado and Texas to get their vaccines, what's the danger of opening up too soon to everybody is that you're going to probably push aside some of those more vulnerable, marginalized populations who might have a harder time negotiating the website, might have a harder time with transportation. So they're not going to be able to get in, and they're not going to have space because all of the more, you know, younger, healthier people are going to be taking their places. So I think that's what I don't know what the governor's thinking, but that's what I think the governor's thinking with this new 60 and older thing.
What can you tell us about you always track the week by week vaccination dosage coming into Santa Fe and La Familia and Christus and Presbyterian and others. How are we doing with the arrival of doses? Are we stable? Is it variable week to week like it was in the beginning? How's it look going forward?
It's stabilized somewhat. I mean, we got a couple hundred doses of Johnson & Johnson, and I know, you know, Christus got a lot more of that, and now we're not going to get any until April, and then we should get more because of the production issues that Johnson & Johnson had. But we took advantage of those, and we used about half of those Johnson & Johnson to focus on the homeless population who qualify under the state regulations, and especially people living in shelters because they're especially vulnerable. And we're going to use a lot of the rest of our Johnson & Johnson to help support this effort to get not only teachers, but anyone who works in a school. So if you're a bus driver or a janitor or a secretary or any job you might have in a school, please consider yourself part of this push. And there's a lot of different opportunities through the Department of Health. If you're a patient of La Familia, you can call us up. We're trying to get those people in next week for that. So if you work at a school in any capacity, definitely this is your chance. So that's a really important one.
You're right to extend it. I mean, teachers are in the classroom, but everybody else is just as important to make sure everybody's safe as we go back to school. And
that's right.
Whether you're there to take attendance or make sure that the school is clean and well maintained, doesn't matter. Everybody counts with the safety of reopening the schools. Good point.
Right.
Talk a little. I don't know if you know the details of the drive-through registration from 9 to 2 at the fairground. Is that something that you're familiar with? Can you?
Well, you know, that's being run by the city and the county is my understanding. And what that is for people who might be having a hard time getting registered.
Right.
So what they'd like you to do is if you're registered already in the site and you haven't been called and you're frustrated about that, please don't come to that drive-through. You're not going to get a vaccine. There's not vaccines yet. So that is for assistance for people that haven't been able to get registered on the site. Maybe you don't have a computer at home. Maybe you don't have a smartphone. Maybe the site has just been confusing for you and you're not understanding how to do it. No problem with any of that. Just drive through that site. They'll make sure you're signed up. So it's only for signing up. Wow. And then I think before the end of the month, the city and county will also have another event where they will actually be vaccinating and focusing on those older populations as well.
Yep. And by the way, a thank you to the Fiesta Council for helping with that registration sign up. They are volunteering and they've been super in terms of recognizing that they can offer a lot to our community in the way of outreach and support, and they are devoted to Santa Fe. So Fiesta Council, thank you. We're very grateful for that as well. What else is going on with in terms of, I guess the thing I would like to hear you talk about, what's going on in my mind is the danger of slipping backward. I know everywhere when I'm around town and I'm meeting with folks, I get to go out a little bit more than I did in the hardest COVID days. Now we all feel like spring is coming and we're coming out of hibernation, which is great. But as we come out of hibernation, I see people not wearing masks. I see folks assuming that they either have gotten one vaccination or both. And so it's all good. We don't have to worry anymore. Words of caution from Dr. Johnson. What do we need to be aware of?
Well, as you said, Taos went from green to yellow. We could go from green to yellow, and it takes us a full month at green to get to turquoise. So if we go back to yellow in 2 weeks, then it's going to be at least 6 weeks before we get back to turquoise at best, and maybe longer. The other thing you mentioned that has a role in all this is the UK variant, which is even more contagious than others. It's probably not more deadly, but that might be having some role in all this. So I know the CDC said if you're vaccinated, you can gather without masks with other vaccinated people. But if you're not vaccinated yet, and even if you are vaccinated, especially in public, you need to be wearing a mask, because I can't tell who's vaccinated or not vaccinated. I don't know if you're putting me at risk or not if I'm not vaccinated. And so please, let's have solidarity with our community. We have about 28%, as I said, of the folks in Santa Fe have gotten vaccinated, almost a third, but there's 2/3 that still haven't. So please have respect and solidarity with those people that are still vulnerable, even if you're fully vaccinated, and wear a mask and don't be a jerk, quite frankly, and keep doing all these things. Now, the other thing is, I got takeout yesterday from a local restaurant, and it was pretty full. I mean, I don't think it was more full than it should have been, but green is pretty full. So a lot of people doing indoor dining now. I have to admit, I did my first indoor dining last week in a year. I haven't been in a restaurant, and so that was very exciting. Seemed very safe at the place I went, but I think that we still should be a little bit judicious with that. And especially if you're not vaccinated, I would say, please don't partake in those things quite yet. I'm hopeful that in the next month or two, we will be able to get vaccines out to most of the people who need them, especially those vulnerable people, and we will be able to push our cases down. But especially if you're not vaccinated, I really think, and I know everybody's very anxious to get vaccinated, or a lot of people are, but I think if you're not vaccinated, you really still need to take all the precautions, including the social distancing, including the avoiding indoor spaces with other people. And so I think that is what is going to really push us down. Now, the thing that's difficult is the essential workers. And I'm hopeful, because, those people have to work in the restaurants with everybody, and they can't ask, everyone, are you vaccinated? And those people haven't been vaccinated yet in our state. So I'm hopeful that, in the next couple of weeks, maybe, or 3 weeks, the governor will the governor will open it up to the vaccinated, to essential workers and start being, so you'll be able to get vaccinated. So, with this push from Biden to vaccinate everybody, hopefully we'll see things opening up a little bit more, and we'll be able to push right now to get the older folks vaccinated. And then maybe by April, we'll see it opening it up more to essential workers and others. But until then, we really have to keep being careful.
Yeah, I think the phrase of the day is cautious optimism. We can be optimistic, but we shouldn't lose our sense of caution, because
Right.
we're not out of the woods. We haven't gotten enough vaccinations into people's arms to reach the point where we can feel confident. And frankly, we've got people coming to visit us again, and they may or may not be vaccinated, and they may or may not share in the sensibility of
Yeah.
Santa Fe that we all have to look after each other. So please, if you are a local and we all care deeply about each other and our families, take it to heart that we're not out of the woods. Wear a mask, set a good example, practice physical distancing. If you see something that doesn't conform to the rules, we have told the police to get there when they can. They can't always get there in the nick of time, but they will if they get repeated reports of a violator, whether it's a restaurant or some other business operator. We want to remind all of our folks, shop local, keep your money here in Santa Fe, frequent your favorite restaurant, get takeout if you're not vaccinated, bring it home, be safe, put the money into our local economy, but don't do it in a way that jeopardizes all of our health, because until we get right now, as you said, we're 28% vaccinated. That means we're 72% not vaccinated. When those numbers are flipped and it's 72 vaccinated and 28 not, I'll feel a lot better. But right now we've got a ways to go. And the numbers, as I read at the beginning of this, you look at our data, we had a few great days, 5, 1, and then we ballooned 12, 17, and 15. Those kinds of numbers will put us back into the yellow. And all the gains we made have to be reversed, which means our workers who maybe are excited to get a paycheck and come back and resume their work lives are going to be sent home again. We've got
Right.
the part of what makes this work is if you can do a slow and steady improvement rather than swinging back and forth with like a pendulum. So I think your words of caution and being cautious while being optimistic is the right way to look at it. Any last
Right.
words, Dr. Johnson? We'll see you next week.
Well, that sounds great. I was very excited that the concerts on the plaza are going to go on this summer.
That is your favorite thing in the whole world. You are.
I like live music. I like live music a lot. So opera, concerts, the rail yard concerts, I'm a big fan. So that's been probably the hardest thing for me, is not having the live music. So, and I do think that's fun. So let's have whatever it is that is your favorite thing that you miss. For me, it's live music. That's kind of dangling out here as a possibility in the summer, and it can be taken away if we're not, real careful. So that's all I'm going to leave you with is, everybody has that favorite thing. That's mine. And let's not screw it up for each other. And let's all hang together for a few more weeks so that we can get there.
Thanks, Doctor.
And have those fun things. All right. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dr. Johnson. Stay safe. Take care. Be well. Thanks for being with us.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. So you heard her. We're making progress. We're in the green. That's great. That means we can do some fun things and have some enjoyment with our favorite restaurant, or go bowling, check out Meow Wolf, be back in some of our favorite spots. I love it. Francis and I went out to lunch yesterday, first time in I can't remember how long, but we were masked, we were careful, we were keeping our physical distance from other people in the restaurant. It's really important to stay the course. A few other things I want to bring up. Saturday, March 13th is the annual Peshlikai Dwi Checkpoint. And those of you who remember the tragic story of the Peshlikai sisters who were killed March 5th, 2010, when a multiple-time DWI driver crashed into their family's car on Cerrillos after a basketball game. And we lost Del Lynn and Deshauna. They were both victims of that crash. And now every year, the Santa Fe Police Department commemorates it with a DWI educational event. I remember going, this is one of the last things I was able to do before we closed down. There was a gathering last year at the Santa Fe Police Department. Peshlikai family were all there. The t-shirts, the family, the remembrances, the thanks they had for the Santa Fe Police Department for their heart in supporting the family. This goes on every year as a commemoration of that tragedy and an attempt to prevent it from ever happening again. So be aware that there will be a DWI educational event. Don't drink and drive. It's that simple. Don't go on the road if you've been drinking, and don't drink if you know you're going to drive. Keep people safe. Remember the Peshlikai sisters, the family, keep them in your hearts. Keep everybody who has been a tragic victim of that kind of a terrible experience. We can save lives if we don't drink and drive. Few other things going on. We're looking on Monday to Deb Haaland. Congresswoman Haaland is up for her confirmation vote, I believe, on Monday. Be a phenomenal achievement for our whole state, for the Native community, for everyone who knows and loves Deb, to recognize what a tremendous servant of the public she has always been, a tireless worker, and a great representative of our community. Let's all give good thoughts to Deb for her confirmation. Coming up, another fun thing to keep in mind, something to be happy about. Sierra Club, Team Sierra, Doing Good by Nature, says National Learn About Butterflies Day. Did you know that butterflies taste with their feet? I didn't. This Sunday, March 14th, is National Learn About Butterflies Day. And our friends at Team Sierra, the Sierra Club, trying to raise some money in honor of the Papilonio Dia friends. Those are butterflies. Butterflies love flowers that are red, yellow, and orange. And they're big fans of sunflowers. A few butterfly facts. So go to the web, learn about National Learn About Butterfly Day. Santa Fe is now becoming a city of bees, trees, and butterflies. Couldn't happen at a better time as we head into the spring. So thanks to the Sierra Club for calling out Learn About Butterflies Day. Tomorrow, I'm going to be over at the GCCC Ice Rink as we celebrate the reopening of that wonderful facility, community ice skating rink. You can learn how to reserve time at chavezcenter.com. It's still under COVID restrictions, but it's opening, and that's because we're in the green. We don't want to slide back. Stay in the green. Public schools reopening in early April, so be aware of that. The DOH dashboard that you can check out, like Dr. Johnson was doing, will tell you about how our vaccine distribution is going. It's available in English and in Spanish. Our communications team here at the city is getting ready to distribute 10,000 flyers targeting our zip codes 87505 and 87507, two of the more heavily affected zip codes in Santa Fe. Hit hard by COVID. A lot of our essential workers live there. Those flyers are in Spanish to make sure everybody knows how to register to get vaccinated. We're still pushing the word out. Here's how to do it. It's critically important. The Mortgage Finance Authority of the state of New Mexico is taking applications for its COVID-19 housing assistance program. It's a big deal. Recipients will receive as much as $1,500 per month for up to 3 months of mortgage, real estate contract, or manufactured home loan payments. You're not eligible if you're already receiving or have received housing cost assistance, but there's information available at the Mortgage Finance Authority website. The big news, of course, this last week was the passage of the American Rescue Plan into law. This was President Biden's signature effort coming out of his inauguration, both to get help to everybody who needs it, and for the first time, providing direct assistance to cities. In the past, it's all gone through states for cities our size. The New Mexico delegation, as a group, did a great job voting for it. Well, almost all of it. We had one person who didn't, but our delegation up here in the north did, and that's for sure. And it provides direct support to the city of Santa Fe. It looks as if we are slated to receive at least $15 million in the coming months directly because of the ARP law. We've talked from the beginning for a year now about we cannot do it alone here in the city of Santa Fe. We need state help, we need federal help. And we've had enormous help from the state when we got CARES Act money, thanks to the governor and her team. You remember we were the recipients of $17.5 million because of our rapid response to COVID a year ago. That money got pushed out to help with rental assistance, food, all kinds of specific family assistance, mobility, transportation, anything we could do to help small businesses, mom and pop shops, keep them going through the pandemic, trying to fight evictions, trying to make sure that families could stay together. Well, now with the ARP, the American Rescue Plan, we will be able to continue to rebuild our local economy. To use President Biden's language, we're going to build back better. We've lost almost $500 million in Santa Fe because of COVID. Taxable gross receipts have been down that much over the last year since last March. We've got now some money coming our way that we can use to help all of our local community members, whether you're a business, a family. We're going to do our best to rebuild, recover, get healthy, and bring Santa Fe's economy back to life as strong as we can. It will also provide support for unemployment benefits. This bill will, rental assistance, broadband access, PPP loans for local businesses, assistance for schools to reopen in a safe way, more money for vaccinations. It is a real broad bill with support and help for so many parts of our community. So we see this, I see this as mayor, as a direct shot in the arm, not of a vaccine, but a shot in the arm of federal assistance, much needed, and it will be very, very helpful as we provide more assistance to the people of Santa Fe, to our small businesses and our families. That is the big news of last week. Next week will also be a big week. There's a lot going on in Santa Fe as we move into the spring. I'll bring you up to date next week on more activities that are going on. It's going to be an interesting weekend, a lot of wind, maybe a little cold, the big winter storm up in Denver. We'll see whether we get any of that coming down south. But until I see you next week, take care. Remember to wear a mask. Let's not backslide. Wear your mask, use hand sanitizer. Be aware that if you're indoors, if you go to one of your favorite restaurants and you're enjoying that experience again, that's a great thing, but stay safe. Keep physical distancing, use hand sanitizer, be safe when you go home. We are moving toward turquoise. We want to continue that progress. So till I see you next week, remember to stay safe. Keep the Peshlikai family in your heart and minds from that tragedy in 2010. There will be DWI enforcement in the recognition of that tragedy. We want no more drunk driving in Santa Fe. We want safe driving. Stay well, stay safe, keep yourself safe, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, very much take care of our community. All together, working as a family, we'll take care of Santa Fe. I will see you next week. Bye for now.